What's good, people? Welcome to another episode of The Rec. We are back. I know it's been a minute, but we are back. We are here giving the content because that is what we do. Alongside me today, we have the one and only LaMelo Ball and Lonzo Ball Stan, Jay Extended. James Lewis, how are you, bro?
Who's got 2 Rookie of the Month awards? This guy. This guy. This guy. That's what I have to say.
No, you're not wrong, bro. Your LaMelo stocks are rising, man.
Yeah, man, 100%.
I'm saying about your Lonzo stocks, though, but we moved.
No, man, they're coming up. Don't sell out just yet.
We'll see, man.
He's starting to get more hype than Zion as well, though. I got over the cap. I can't go to about seeing the middle anymore. And the middle, some Steph Curry doesn't move. No one says anything. The middle does the same move. Now the next thing you know, Bleacher Report, Sports Center, ESPN, everyone's just blowing up this guy.
They say LaMelo has to breathe and they'll put it on Sports Center.
Yeah, man. What do you know about
man?
It's not highlights. It's House of LaMelo.
It's content, man. I love it.
Today, we've got the Westbrook Stan. This guy will die for Westbrook, blood. Richard, what are you saying, bro?
You know, as I said, I don't stand Westbrook. I just appreciate greatness. That's all it is. That's all it is.
I don't stand Westbrook, but I appreciate greatness. That says it all. But last but not least, bro, we have the one and only man like Reeve. Unserious. I'm saying unserious. You're not unserious, but I'm reading the tab.
Yeah, listen, man. Mr. Unserious, shout out Shirtless Planting Show. Get the merch there. It's not mine, but shout out to Shirtless Planting Show. But yeah, man's back. I always happen to be back on the zone. A lot's happened, man. You might have been growing without me.
Well, listen, listen, you've been growing without me too.
See, we're not gonna play industry game on air. Are we gonna play industry game on air? It's up to you. It's up to you, man. It's up to you. You can play it. It's up to you, man.
I'm trying to be like you, bro. I'm trying to be like you.
Look.
But anyway, let's get straight into this, man. Unfortunately, Joel Embiid went down with an injury. It's not season ending, is it?
No,
I don't think it is.
Nah,
it's not season, but
came back
I feel like this injury here has really just hindered his MVP race, really, because he was the front runner. Like, he was having his best season. You look at it, he was averaging. He's played 31 games, which 31 games doesn't seem that much, but in his first season, he actually played 31 games. And then if you look at it, he's averaging 29, 52%, 52.5% from the field, averaging a double-double, 29, 11, and 3. Like, he was one of the, if not the front runner for MVP. So, like, looking at this injury, and let's say he comes back just before, let's say he misses a month, maybe 2. Do you think, even with what he's done with these 31 games, he's still beating the MVP race? Or do you think because of this injury and the way other people were balling, like your Jokic, Lebron and stuff like that, do you feel like now his MVP race is kind of done?
I'm gonna go first.
Yeah, go for it, man.
So I've heard it's only going to be up for like 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, it's nothing concrete, but it's a bit weird because of he should be out of it, but I don't think he would because of who his competitors are. I think the only people that can rival him right now are probably LeBron, Giannis, Harden, maybe them 3, maybe Jokic, but the Jokic hype has died down in it. So, but the thing is that the media really showed not willing to give LeBron the number 1. And Giannis, Giannis is definitely not. I think even if Giannis deserves to win it, they won't give it to him just due to the 2 playoffs he's had. Like, they're not going to reward him again. So, and James Harden has seen that story. So I do think, obviously, if he misses like 2 months, then obviously it's done. But if it's something like 8 games, remember with this whole COVID situation, there's a lot of players missing a lot of games as well. Like, KD missed a lot of games. There's still going to be teams that are shut down. So I do think there will be some teams that do miss some games, but he won't be favored when he comes back. But I don't think it's over, if that makes sense.
But do you not feel like missing games always hurts anyone's MVP race? Whether he's out for 2 or 3 weeks, I don't know, because Joel Embiid still has that injury-prone side to his game. Obviously, how his career started off, and they might load him back slowly, same way that KD is questionable right now. But we're thinking, let's not risk it. Do you not feel like that's practically going to ruin his chances. Because look at Harden right now.
No,
The Nets
it,
are good at the moment.
no, it could ruin his chances, but is the thing with because it's a media award if you go. I mean, and it's always about narrative. And when you're always in the MVP race constantly, they kind of get bored of you. Hence why like someone like LeBron hasn't won more. Maybe why James Harden hasn't won more. He's always finishing third because it's stuff that we see before. So him being a breath of fresh air, if he doesn't miss too much, like let's just say he misses 8 games, that's like 13 games give or take from 72 games, especially in a COVID season when everyone has been missing games left, right, center. He will probably won't be favorite because I don't think maybe LeBron will go first because he has the best narrative. But in terms of everyone else, I don't think they're as likable as much to knock him off totally, if that makes sense. So it will be hard for him to make on the ground, but I don't think it's as good as done. Obviously, if he misses like 2 months or a month, then that's too many games. But if it's the 2 weeks that they have projected, there might be a chance for him.
I don't actually think it's as bad as people think. To be honest, like, I mean, ultimately, I think his chances are still like, if we're talking about just as the play, like as a team for Philly, like arguably with him being injured right now, like this is probably in theory, one of the best coaches he's been able to be under and be injured, because we know Doc isn't necessarily going to want to rush him back. He's going to want him back to his best. Yeah, it's true. The media does get bored of some people sometimes, ultimately, where a lot of people haven't won many more MVPs, but I think his chances are still good. Like ultimately, when you're in the East, like if Philly was to decide, like they're 27-12 right now, if they were to drop like 2 or 3 games, or maybe like 5 or 6 games, when he comes back, realistically, his chances are going to go up again, because he pretty much carries that team. I mean, you can then have a conversation about how important he is, depending on how many games they win or lose, because if they keep winning, then you can look at like, well, Ben Simmons has been doing his thing all year.
What if they keep
yeah, so it's just one of them things.
Their first game about him.
Yeah, that's the point, and it was a big win. Like, ultimately, like, but then again, you also have to look at the competition and in the East. Like, the Philly's always going to win, always more often than not going to win games than lose them. But it's just one of the. I think he's got a good chance. I think if anybody who's going to creep in, you have to look at LeBron. Obviously, you have to look at the Joker. He's been doing his thing. I feel like somebody we're not talking about enough is Chris Paul, like just with what he's doing with Phoenix. But Chris Paul always seems to get underappreciated, so I'm always going to ride for my guy. Even though
MVP though, like, I get it, but MVP.
Even listen, I've been riding for Chris Paul since he was supposed to be on the Lakers several years ago. But listen, the league wanted to cheat us. It's not our fault. It is what it is. But like, I think even. Not to say he would be the MVP. I think for him to be in the conversation, I think if we're talking about narrative, you think about what the Suns were and have been over the last decade or so, and then you look at what they are now. They sit with the second best record in the West, not the East, in the West, purely because you added somebody like Chris Paul. But obviously the conversation isn't about Chris Paul; it's about Embiid, but I think his chances are still good, to be honest.
I don't think they're looking as crystal now. I think this might be. I don't know. I think the NBA is very quick. I think the NBA is very quick in a sense of, because Embiid is going to take some time out. That means all it takes is Giannis to score like 40 or Jokic to score 40, and then people will say, okay, now they're the new front runner. Because the thing is, the other players don't stop while Embiid's injured. So I think Embiid season, and to be honest, he's injured and the playoffs is coming. A lot of players aren't really so regular season focused, so he might take even more time out to just recover and make sure that he's not injured come time of playoffs, and make sure that he's 100%. So I think, as much as I don't want to say, I think Giannis will probably become front runner because he's a regular season guy. He gets the numbers. He has really good games. So I think it's more Giannis's thing. But I think this season for Embiid will be like the streets won't forget Embiid start to this season.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, and you're right, Richard, in the sense that MVP is based on the narrative. Chris Paul's narrative is crazy when you look at it.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the steps to go over it. Because really and truly, when you think of the MVP, it's not really most valuable player award. It's more about he has the best narrative and he's been the best player in the regular season, which hasn't been like when you measure up statistics compared to all the other people in the race, there are people who's having the same impact on the team and also putting up numbers as well. So that's why you can't put Chris Paul top 5. Like he's doing his thing, don't get me wrong, but I do think even though he has a narrative, he doesn't have the statistics. But as James said, he thinks I don't think, as I said before, Giannis just won't win just simply because he's kind of lost the trust of the. I won't say he's lost the trust, but it's one of those things as in they've given you chances to show yourself on the big stage and you've disappointed. So that's why I think even if he deserves to win it, which I don't think he's top 2, like we were speaking currently, I probably put Embiid and I have Embiid first, LeBron second, Harden third. Even if Giannis did deserve it, I don't think he would get it anyway, just simply for them 2 playoff failures anyways. But the MVP is a bit weird anyways in terms of who wins it, because one time it's best player on the best team, and the next time you're second seed, then you could potentially win it. So it is up and down.
Well, let's talk about someone who I don't think is in the MVP race, but who's been falling out recently, and for my team, the Brooklyn Nets. Because right now, according to the power rankings and according to me, the basketball oracle myself, I believe the Brooklyn Nets are the best team in basketball right now. I feel like we've only lost one in our last 12, and that was to the Mavs, if I can remember correctly. And also, because listen, I was the first one to say, listen, we've got the Steve Nash, the Mike and Toni offense, or we're just basically the 06 Suns, and everything we're doing right now is without KD. Right. Mm-hmm. We've got the best record against teams above 500. So teams we will play during the playoffs, we have the best record in the league for that. We're at the rate we're going, we're probably going to take the number 1 seed off the East with Philly. That's going to be without Embiid. Like, can someone try? Are we all in unison that the Nets are the best team right now? Because we're doing all this without KD. And I don't even want to say without Blake Griffin because I don't know what Blake Griffin's going to add to our team. Just by
a few Instagram followers,
and banter. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But we're doing all this without KD right now. Harden's been balling recently. Kyrie has been going off. We've been grinding out games as well. I'm scared that we're going to lose to the Wizards because that's the kind of nonsense we do. I've seen the Wizards drop 4-9 on us, so I'm scared for Friday when we go against the Wizards and the Pistons as well. But right now, when it comes to teams, the good teams that when we go against the Clippers or the 76 and stuff like that, like we seem to be dealing with them. Even the Knicks yesterday, that was a hard game. And the Knicks are not a bad team at the moment, believe it or not. Like, are we all in unison right now that the Nets are the team to beat? Or are we still going, or are you got to consider the Lakers, the Clippers, just 76ers and stuff like that?
I think it's fair. I think it's fair to say that. I mean, like, even though, we don't meant, like, nobody really wants to talk about Utah, but, you have to put Utah in there. No, I'm just, listen.
Yeah. Even LeBron said he don't even play as Utah.
Listen, no, like, I know, I agree. I'm just saying, innit, it's one of them things where it's just like, when it's kind of like the tape, like, like obviously it's not basketball, when you look at the Premier League, like, people look at the table and be like, Man United are second. Doesn't mean we deserve to be second, but we're second. Like, the table is what the table is. Yeah. Like, Utah ultimately has the best record in the NBA. Like, whether we disagree with it or not, it is what it is. They've got the best record in the NBA. As it is right now, like, the team that appears to be coming, it does appear to be the Nets. Whether you like it or not, like, ultimately being 13-1, still grinding out games against some of the better opponents in the league. And you ultimately are this arguably this whole year, you've had some form of people not being out or people being not fit to play. And then, adding like pieces like Blake and then is it Drummond, I believe, or is it who else did they add in free agency?
Drummond. I wish we had Drummond.
Drummond's not over the line yet.
It was I was not over the line. But yeah, like, I think they're adding somebody else, but like, ultimately, having a whole season where, people but you haven't arguably had the strongest starting 5 or your main big 3 in to play consistently over a long period of time. And to still be, on one of the best runs in the NBA right now, it's it's scary. Like, you know,
It's like
you kind of
scary
just
eyes.
yeah, it's scary. Like, ultimately, you have to, at that point, you're then asking the questions. It's like, well, what if they're all together? Like, that's when it's like, well, you know, you're talking about going maybe like 20, 30 games undefeated, but it's also one of them ones where it's like, sometimes, you know, they're consistently inconsistent. Like, you can go on this run and then you can have a game like the Wizards and score like 150 points and still lose.
But
Yeah, I was scared. I was always going to be scared of it. A team with James Harden and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, I was always going to be scary. They were always going to go on these runs. Nothing about this surprises me at all. It is scary, the fact that the scariest thing is KD's not there. Then imagine in the playoffs when you only need to get 4 wins out of a 7-game series. It's like they're just going to get you. So I think with the Jazz thing, I'm sorry. No one, even NBA players, don't rate the Jazz. Like, the last players picked in the All-Star draft were Jazz players. Like, at the end of the day, you can hold first seed as much as you want. That's the thing. You can hold first seed. No one cares about the first seed when it comes to the Jazz. But yeah, the team to be, at first I thought it was the Lakers starting the season, but now the Nets are showing why they're the Nets. But to be honest, if I add James Harden to that team, then I expect that.
My only thing is, if AD does come back fully fit, as I said, just simply because of the center position, I just do think it's still a bad matchup for the Nets either way, because although you can say he's going to guard Harden, this, and that, which is a fair point, at the end of the day, there's only so many shots that can go around. If KD, Kyrie, Harden all going off, maybe the role players will suffer, if that makes sense. And nobody is better at creating mismatches on the court as LeBron. So I think if AD doesn't come back fully fit, then obviously the Nets are the team to beat. I always thought that before they even got Harden or Griffin or whoever they added. So, but as I said, that center position, I just can see it's going to cost the Nets if AD is fully fit. And yeah, Lakers in 6. But it all depends on Lakers. It all depends on what AD.
Against the Nets? Yeah, 6.
Yeah, I don't see it going 7. I think there's always a thing when two good teams go against each other, they have to go 7. They can be close games and it ends still one way either way. So
yeah,
I still
it's even
think
7. So I get that.
Yeah, so I still do think the Lakers in 6. The 76ers might be a bad matchup for them as well, because no one is guarding Embiid, and Simmons, great defensive player as well, so he can take one of them perimeter players like Harden and all that kind of stuff. So yes, they currently are the team to beat, but I'm not getting carried away to say that it's undisputed that they're gonna storm the league and sweep everybody up in 4.
No, I still don't think we're going to sweep everyone just yet. But right now, looking at this, I'm thinking the way we're playing and the way we're dealing with teams, with, let's say, one of the, if not one of the greatest basketball players of this generation to come back into this team, I'm thinking, like, this is kind of scary. I don't know. I'm not sure if LeBron and AD is going to be enough. You know,
LeBron's definitely worried. LeBron is definitely thinking this Nets team is a problem. I think that's the only team he really cares about. That's the only team LeBron really cares about, is that Nets team.
Well, every year LeBron always knows which one team it is. Like, he always knew the teams he was never going to run. Like, think about it. He ran into Toronto several years when he was in the East, and we all knew what happens. Like, we all knew it was just like, take that, got that one, give me that. He was just he claimed that whole city. It was a shame, and even Atlanta, whenever he ran into Atlanta, he just claimed
regular season team that was
he just claimed them. So it was one of them things where, like, he knew the teams he was never gonna, like, he always knew when he was in the East, more often than not he's looking at Golden State all the time. Like, he knows that. Now he's in the West. You know, last year was a bit of an anomaly year. Like, not saying that Miami can't do it again, but the chances that they will do it again is a bit more difficult for them now. And you know, you look at the two, like, arguably the teams in the top 3 for the East. Those are 3 teams that you have a really good chance of running into. Like, and you know, it creates mismatches for all of them. Like, for Philly, you have AD. It would be Embiid and AD, but then obviously you've got LeBron and Ben Simmons, and then for Brooklyn, obviously we already know what they've got going on, and then for the Bucks, if they ever decide they want to be serious in the postseason and get to the finals, then then Giannis can do whatever he wants to do against anybody he wants. But like LeBron always knows the teams that he's looking at. Like he's not worried about everybody else. But Brooklyn is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I feel like
championship or bust for the Nets now.
Yeah, no, I think we've added way too many pieces for it not to be.
It'll be a failure.
Finals.
And
that's just me being nice. But yeah, I think we've added way too many pieces now to not be finals or bust.
Your contract situation is going to be real fun in a few years.
Oh yeah, 100%. But it's one of them situations. Let's just win our first championship. Well, not our first, but our first NBA championship. We won an ABA with Dr. J and them, man. But yeah, listen. We've gone through it, bro. You don't think I've gone through it as a Nets fan? Yeah. I've been to finals and I've only seen my team win one finals game.
Man celebrating wins when the ball was white and blue.
Curtis blowing that.
When Dr. J was out here looking like the guy from NBA Street Volume 2, bro. But yeah, no, with the Nets, I honestly feel like it is kind of finals or bust with us because we've added way too many pieces now. I don't know how Blake is going to fit into this rotation. He's definitely not going to start for us. I know.
Yeah, he said he wants to come. He don't mind coming off the bench.
I don't mind him coming off the bench either.
Yeah, he knows the deal, though.
I think he just. I feel like it is. I feel like he's kind of in a like a Dwight Howard situation when when Dwight was at the Lakers. It's kind of like all right, listen, you have been unserious for a long time, for a good while now. So it's kind of like we need to see that. All right, can you still do this thing? So it's like he kind of just has to come in and be like, whatever you need me to do, I'm saying yes. Whatever role you need me to play, I feel like that's what it is. Like, because he's kind of like, in a way, even though he's not like on a journey, he's not been doing a journeyman thing, but it's kind of just like it feels like he's been doing that because he's just been. He went from LA to Did he go from LA to Detroit straight away?
Yeah, straight away. Yeah.
Like he went to LA to Detroit, and as soon as he went to Detroit, he immediately became irrelevant.
Nice. Like. Dude, this guy hasn't dunked since 2019, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
I still can't get it out of my head.
Like he's casually pulling up for threes now.
Yeah, it's true. Freeze is his bread and butter now.
Can you imagine, bro? We've come a long way from Lob City,
This guy jumped over a Kia, man.
Exactly. Now he can't jump.
This guy changed from a layup to a dunk midair just because he felt like it. People don't know about 2014 Blake Griffin. Oh my god. Different beast, man.
13, bro.
That's why I wouldn't even have been mad if he decided to go to the Suns. I wouldn't even have been mad.
Yeah, that would have been
I don't think he likes Chris Paul. I think that relationship is very fractured to this day.
I think it's more of a fracture. I don't think the fracture is more Chris Paul. I think the fracture is more him with the Clippers, to be honest. Because they was just like, yeah, no, we're gonna sign you. You're gonna be the poster boy, and then they shipped him out.
It's a cold world, man.
Wait, Dinwiddie's out for the season, isn't it?
Dinwiddie,
yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be back for the playoffs. It was an ACL, wasn't it? So he's gonna be out.
That's nasty.
But at least Blake, KD will be back. But Dinwiddie, as much as I'd like him, and he might. No, I don't. Yeah, he can win a ring, I guess. He can be there for support. But yeah,
how long is KD out for?
Sorry.
How long is KD out for? Because
KD is questionable. So it said within the next 1 week or two. So he's gonna be back soon because he can start to kind of get into the rhythm of things from now, but we don't obviously because of the Achilles, we're trying to pattern him in very slowly. Very, very slowly. But yeah, man, we'll see with KD because as a Nets fan, it's good to see that we don't need KD right now.
Yeah.
Obviously we want him and no one's ever going to say no to him. But the fact that we don't need him is good that worst comes to worst.
To be honest, did the Warriors need him? A lot of places don't need KD because he always joins a super team.
Well, no, the Warriors
but it is kind of funny in a sense of
the narrative is there. It's there. Whether we want it to be there or not.
No, don't do this, guys.
No. I'm not all jokes aside. Listen. All jokes aside, KD, dead or alive, is still one of the greatest basketball players to ever step foot on this court. No matter what. all I'm saying is it's not. I'm not creating a narrative. I'm just saying it's very funny. It's just very funny. That's all it is. It's not. It's not a claim. It's not a claim that that's all he needs to do to win. It's just very, very funny.
It's like what Draymond said.
But I believe that's just what KD wants. KD just likes to make things funny that way.
Yeah.
Well, he's not the GM though. I highly doubt it's like a LeBron situation. Like KD goes, I want that guy, I want that guy, I want that guy. Obviously, he has a say in it. Well, not even a say in it. Obviously, they go to him and be like, "Oh, what do you feel like this guy could bring to our team?" But he's not like the GM. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he has.
But he has that. He has that power though. He has that power though.
He probably does, but I don't think he's that guy.
He was the one that recruited Blake Griffin, apparently.
Yeah, but
KD was watching Blake Griffin and said we
recruited.
I think if he really recruited Blake, then it's definitely a championship happening. It's definitely because now you're playing off the word of KD.
Yeah, and you're taking, and KD said to him, "You didn't get one in Lob City. Come here, we'll get you one." Blake,
I mean, them man were never going to get one anyway.
Yeah, the man were just regular season vibes and double.
Yeah, that's it. That was it, man.
Every game was an all-star game.
Yeah, exactly. But quickly, let's go on to apparently there's trade rumors for Miles Turner, who's a half decent player, but has been going through a bit. There's trade rumors that he might be, the Pacers might put him on the trade block and the people interested are like the Lakers, the Clippers, the Knicks. It's a weird one because Miles Turner, I think not this season, but in like 22, 23, he's going to be a free agent. And it's weird. This season he's averaging what, 13 points, 3.5 blocks in like 36 starts, which isn't great. He's an asset, right? Let's put it that way. He's a valuable asset. He's someone for the Nets. I would happily have him. Do you know what I mean? If we can afford him,
you want everyone. Jesus.
No. But that's something you need, right? No, I'm just saying an interior defender. Like, do you feel like do you feel like, let's say, a team like the Lakers? I don't think the Clippers need that much. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like the Lakers had a really good supposedly had a really good offseason, but I still don't feel like they need to add more weapons.
I think Indy's at a point where it's kind of like, I think if you're gonna get rid of people, you just try and stock up on as many picks as possible. Like do what OKC do, get as many picks as possible. Like as pretty much OKC pretty much controls like half of the board when it comes to draft picks these days.
Well, devil, man.
Sam, like, I know an OKC fan. Like he literally looks like Sam. He says that Sam Presti is like he is like. But I agree with him. Because it's like the guy controls literally half of the board. Like think about when the 2021 draft comes around. Like arguably, like 3 or 4 of the top 10 could be going to OKC or via OKC. Like that's really what it is. Like, and some teams don't even have picks to trade anymore because of OKC. Like that's how mad it is. So in regard
for OKC, my best of stocks.
but when it comes to fam, them man there, they were the ones. But when it comes to, I think with Miles Turner, I think he's a great asset. I think a lot of teams really should look at him. I think Indy should generally deal him because I feel like you look at their squad, like ultimately, you know, at the end of the day, you're in the East more often than not. If you're a semi-decent side, you're going to make the playoffs anyway, but you'll be met with a first round exit. That's just how things go. Like at least that way, you know, you can look at the draft and look at some of the names that are in there and try and get some decent things if you get some picks. But I think in regards to who would need him, like as a Lakers fan, I wouldn't be mad at having him. You know, if he's fully fit and he's able to do what he needs to do, I wouldn't be mad at having him on my team. But I think generally, if we know he's fully fit and capable, then I think pretty much every top team should be looking at him.
Richard, James.
Yeah, to be honest, I think someone like Miles Turner, there was a lot of high hopes for him when he's a big man that can shoot the three. But I feel he's kind of, it's perfect for him to go somewhere like the Lakers, where he doesn't need to do a crazy amount, but he just needs to contribute when he needs to. Kind of like how they want JaVale McGee. They just want someone that can come in, have great energy moments, and then go back. So I could see him going to LA. I could see him going to a big team and just fitting in.
I mean, I won't say the Lakers need him, but if they can get him, they should definitely go for it because, as I said, Marc Gasol was he once was. He's always in the foul trouble as well. So if you can get a solid rim protector that can help, I won't say help AD because he doesn't need any help, but you get where I'm coming from. Like somebody that can defend the rim, like because all he needs to do is just play defense. He has nothing to offensively, and apart from that, where else can? There's a lot of teams he can go to, but that'll be more beneficial for him. Like get a free ring or attempt to get a free ring and keep it stepping. Or come to Washington.
Leave your Westbrook brother out of this, man.
He's working as a backroom staff.
Man, are 5 games back talking about.
Tell Westbrook to chill. Westbrook, you know where Westbrook's going to be in the playoffs? At home, watching it, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, that was rude. That was mad rude.
No,
That was mad rude.
he was in the All-Star game at home watching it.
You know
bro.
how crazy that is? Imagine no All-Star game and no playoffs. Because sometimes if you get the All-Star game, it shows you did your thing. You might not get playoffs because your team didn't do their thing.
Bradley Beal was an All-Star. Bradley Beal was named a starter.
No, you have to even look. I think
the
the best quantifier is for this year is your team isn't going to make the playoffs, but the Knicks might.
That's true.
Oh,
And the Hornets might. And the Hornets might.
First of all, I'm an OKC fan.
I'm not saying you, bro.
He took it personally.
I'm not saying you, bro. I'm saying this to anybody whose team is in the East. You know who might be supporting anyone down there. Listen, your team might not make the playoffs, but the Knicks might.
Unforeseen circumstances.
We're living in some unprecedented times, isn't it?
Yep. Them COVID cases and injuries ruined Westbrook
the Wizards.
And
ruined Westbrook. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Westbrook defense 101, bro. Blaming.
He's proper for Westbrook.
He was ruined by Rondo's child still.
Rondo.
No, sorry, his brother. His brother. The worst thing is I love Westbrook as well. That's the worst thing. I love Westbrook.
Nah, bro, listen, I don't doubt this guy. Like, I think he's a good. I just don't like Westbrook's stands. You know what I mean? I appreciate Westbrook and what he's done and how he is as a guard. And I'm not gonna say he's a bad player, but Westbrook stands are something else. Them man want to compare him to Steph Curry. Them man want to compare him to the elite, and he just doesn't do it.
He was.
I'm not saying he's not elite, but you know, like it's the same way. Like, no. I'm saying there's not. Wait, I'm not saying he's not elite. I'm just saying there's elite. There's levels when it comes to being elite.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. Like the same way nobody's on Ronaldo and Messi's level, or the same way that no one is on LeBron and KD's level is the same way that no one's. You know, like he might be one of the lower tiers of elite, but he's still elite.
So he's like Christian Eriksen.
Nah, because you know, like Russell Westbrook's Westbrook's actually done. Westbrook's done something with his life.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. No, but if you could compare Westbrook to a footballer, like ability,
Westbrook, Zaha.
Nah, think about it. The guy's been an MVP, bro. Like you're being like that's like I understand we're making jokes, but we're being. Nah. Come on, the guys like you have to take it all into account.
You know how you like people like to poke Zaha, and Zaha reacts to it. I think people like to do that
in that sense. Then I get what you're saying.
But not like accolade wise.
Okay, all right. I get what, in that case, I get what you're saying.
Football. I mean,
listen, Wolf is on smoke with everybody. That's what I'm saying.
Just saying, guys. But we're gonna wrap it up there. Charlie, you know, at the end we always let our guests plug whatever they want to do. So the floor is yours, bro.
I guess all I can really ever say is like, you know, follow BComs, be involved, get in the network, keep your eyes on Refresh Films and Refresh Productions. And obviously, you know, just keep your eyes on my channel if you ever want. You know, there's some stuff on there sometimes. Like that's it really. Like, and it's not like last time where, you know, I could be more free and speak about things. Like now, it's a lot of things that are happening in the background. So it's just a matter of when these things come to light. But you know, just keep your eyes on things. Isn't it? That's all. Keep your eyes on things.